In the name I am that I am, son of tomorrow, I call forth the light of the living word, beloved Elohim, beloved archangels, beloved mighty Choans of the rays and the lords of karma. I call for the action of beloved Pallas Athena, beloved goddess of liberty, beloved Nada, beloved Kuan Yin, beloved Portia, beloved great divine director, beloved all-seeing eye of God, Cyclopeia. Let God's will be done, let God's will be done, let God's will be done. I do in the action of the sacred fire in this hour, descend on mighty cosmos, secret rays. I am the holding of the balance of Lord Gautama Buddha, beloved Sana Kumara and the seven holy Kumaras. I call upon the sacred fire, I call upon the light of God that never fails. Beloved mighty, I am present, come forth in this hour of the victory. Come forth in this hour of the victory of the God flame. I demand the full power, beloved mighty, exceed me with us this night. Beloved Jesus, send it to me, Lord mighty, Gautama and Sana Kumara. Come Lord now in the victory of the God flame. Send the light of 10,000 suns. Beloved mighty, stand, mighty, stand, mighty, stand. Around this fortune now. I call upon the great single sun magnet. I call upon the light of God that never fails. Beloved Estelle, beloved Estelle, beloved Estelle. I call upon the electronic solar rings of the great central sun, the seraphim of God. I call for the electronic fire rings. I call for the rings of the great central sun. I call for the great central sun magnet and the full power of creation.
Good morning and welcome to another edition of Navigating the Astrological Matrix. My name is Robert Phoenix. I'm your host and your guide and your navigator. And today I'll be joined by a good friend of mine. I'll tell you about in just a little bit. But it's a dour or doer morning for me, and I think for many of the rest of us in this world, as we are really just coming off of the peak of the cardinal cross, which took place overnight while most of us were sleeping. And while most of us were sleeping, something incredibly tragic and probably as important as the assassination of Duke Ferdinand in World War I occurred. And what I'm referring to is the assassination, and I'm calling it assassination right now, of Prince Assad, or Bashir Assad, Prince Assad, his brother, and the defense minister of Syria. And this is a pretty serious thing. They claim it was a suicide bomb. This whole notion of suicide bombs is just, in some ways, really insane. I mean, absolutely insane. How many people really have the desire and the wherewithal to off their lives in the name or service of something completely greater than themselves? I think it's pretty rare, actually, to be quite honest with you. I know we like to live under the illusion that people are so driven by religious fervor or political fervor that they will sacrifice their life for the lives of millions of others. I just don't see it. I haven't seen it for a long time. I don't buy it. I think the desire to live outweighs the desire to die, even for the noblest cause. And I think we have to take all this into consideration when we view world events like this. This is a terrible world event, by the way. There's no positive reframing of what's taken place, and this is all at the inception of the cardinal cross, which is still in the sky. The moon is currently at 20 degrees Cancer, so it's moved on from the intense opposition to Pluto. And we're going to be seeing the fruits of this at some point in August, obviously, with the Olympics on the horizon and the full moon, which will be the manifestation of everything that's taking place right now. Assad is fighting for his political life. He's fighting for his natural life. And when people do that, they get desperate. And that's different than being a suicide bomber. It's completely different, if you believe in the whole suicide bombing meme, for lack of a better term. And when people are desperate, they will do desperate things. This will not end well. I'm sorry. And it's all happened, and it's all started here on the Cardinal Cross. And we'll get into that over the course of the next 120 minutes. We'll also talk about some other things. Mercury's gone retrograde. Saturn has moved forward. It's in the sign of Libra, and people are picking up the pace with Saturn in Libra. On my Facebook page, I'm just watching people light up to the truth right now, and I think we're in a race against time, really. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's a convergence of awakening and chaos, and that's what's happening. People are waking up, and chaos is gathering momentum in order to push people back or move them into a place of slumber, maybe even permanent slumber. This is where we're at right now. It's a race against time, literally and figuratively. So we'll get into that. We'll get into Saturn in Libra. We'll get into Mercury retrograde in Leo, maybe Uranus retrograde as well. And that's going to happen over the course of the next 120 minutes. And I am going to do free readings, and maybe Khayr will pitch in on that. That'll be in the second hour. So if you're hanging on for a free reading, just know that it's not going to be taking place until the second hour of the show. And if you're hanging on to listen, that's fine. Listen in. I think today's going to be a terrific show, and we're going to talk about a lot of different things. We're going to cover a lot of different ground. So let me waste no more time, and let me bring on the man that put the ill in Illuminati. He put the tan in Tantra. He is Greyhound Jesus himself. He's my good friend, my new friend, but it feels like we've known each other for a very long time. Let's bring on Khayr Love.
Peace, peace. What's going on, Robert? How you feeling today?
Oh man, I'm feeling real, as they say. That's how I feel.
It is an honor and a pleasure and definitely a privilege that I am on your airways today, and I just want to say I love you and I appreciate you.
Well, the feelings are mutual, my friend. And, I was thinking about, well, what can we cover today? What are some of the things that we could talk about? And I know that, I'm pretty spontaneous, and I know you're pretty spontaneous. We share the Libra moon together, and, I think we'll harmonize just fine over the course of the show. But I was trying to just get a sense as to, where we could go with this. And one of the things that I really wanted to talk about at some point, maybe we can get into it now, we can get into it later, but we're living in a pretty fractious time, and there's a lot of divide and conquering strategies that are being applied in the world. And we see that clearly even today with this absolutely tragic event, which has happened in Syria. And I think it's really timely that you're on the show because you and I, in some ways, we come from really different worlds. We come from different parts of the country. We come from, in some ways, different traditions. And yet, here we are, into the 21st century, and we're connecting. And not only are we connecting, but we're connecting, I think, at a soul level. And there's a lot of really interesting things, I think, that are happening along these lines where we're breaking down, barriers. We're breaking down stereotypes. We're breaking down cliches. And I think what we're all looking for right now, Khayr, is we're looking for the truth. And it doesn't matter where it's coming from or who we're sharing it with. But I think at some level, we're all deeply searching to resonate with that. And now we have these new alliances and these new friendships and these new networks of connectivity that I think are really exciting and interesting and vital. And I'm glad you're on the show because I want to talk a little bit about this. I don't want to make the focus of the show because there's a lot going on. But I want to put that out to you and see what your thoughts and feelings are around that.
Two things. The first one is the book, The Alchemist. The Alchemist is like one of my favorite books, and one of the favorite passages in it, I feel, in preparing us for moving into the Aquarian age and approaching December 21st, 2012, is the following passage. Before a dream is realized, the soul of the world tests everything that was learned along the way. It does this not because it is evil, but so that we can, in addition to realizing our dreams, master the lessons that we have learned as we move toward the dream. That's the point at which the most people give up. It's the point of which one dies of thirst just when the palm trees have appeared in the horizon. Every search begins with the beginner's luck, and every search ends with the victor being severely tested. I find it not even the quietest bit ironic, but you said both of us have moons in Libra, and here on the East Coast, Libra is rising on the ascendant right now. And you know, I can talk about anything, conspiracy theory, past the stars, inside the planet Earth, but my thing now is this 7th house astrology dealing with, I call it the God house, and relationships and your personal relationships with yourself, with the Creator, with your spirit guides, with the archangels, with the elementals, and the things going on in Syria, the things going on in our government. President Obama's wife was threatened by somebody who's supposedly in her own motorcade. These type of things are all for us to become victorious. I don't believe that any of us came down to the planet Earth to be losers. We all came down to the planet Earth for the same reason, all 6 billion of us, to grow. And to me, by whatever name you want to call it or things like that, if you want to say the universe, the G in grow is for God. We have to get back to God and get our attention on what Dr. Nardi from symptometry calls the mega force. There's no need to try to put a name on it and say, well, mine's better than yours. It's the same mega force. And us harmonizing is what I think the universe and the stars are trying to tell us. Anytime I look at catastrophe, even in my personal life or on an international level or on a cosmic level, I say there's something here for me to learn, and there is an opportunity for me to grow and harmonize. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm looking at now is I'm so happy and grateful that the bomb didn't go off in North Carolina or the bomb didn't go off around your block, nowhere in North America, but I can still look at it, do the technology, and say, hey, what can I learn from this? And thank you, Cardinal Cross, for happening on the other side of the world. You're showing yourself through assassinations and, this Uranus-Pluto square and a Mars-Pluto square. What'd you expect? And a Mars-Uranus opposition. What'd you expect? But then the emotions came in. The emotions and the moon and her desire to chill out, and to be motherly. And so I think that this is an excellent topic for us today. And I'm just Robin and you Batman in this one. So wherever you driving, I'm riding.
All right, man. So let's talk about you again, but in a more personal sense. One of the things that I like to do when I have a guest on the show that is learned in the arts of astrology and practices astrology, especially when working with people, I want to find out, when they got turned on to it. What was that moment in time where, you said to yourself, you scratch your head, say, hey, there's something here, and maybe I should pursue this a little bit further. When did that occur for you?
It was like swimming. There was the time when I put my foot in the water and saw it was wet. Then there was the time when I got in up to my knees and said, ooh. And then it was the time when I dove my head in the water and said, oh, yeah, this is me. So originally, 1997, I'm running into this lovely Aquarius. I'm still looking forward to this day. I let her get out of my clutches, and she could read palms and do astrology. And so for my birthday, she printed out all this stuff. And she was like, here, this is you. And she just knew all these things about me by my birthday. And I was just so impressed. But I was like, I'm studying something else right now. I don't really have time for that. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So that was me getting my feet wet. Then in 2001, July, I ran into another sister. And I guess she was checking my vibes out. And she said, when's your birthday? And I told her. And she started saying all these things. I was like, wow. But I was looking at how cute she was. So I would study with her and see some things, and I was like, man, I got to get on this. And together we attracted an older lady named Miss Debbie. And Miss Debbie came to class. This is when I just started studying Tantra and the martial arts. And Miss Debbie came to class one day, and the sister who I was studying with said, oh, you've got to see Debbie. You've got to see Debbie. So Debbie invited me out that Thanksgiving of 2001, invited me out to her house. We sat on the back porch. She said, now a good astrologer only needs a chart. She said, I don't need any words or anything. And she put on her glasses, and I was sitting across the table, and she looked at my chart. She looked across the top of her glasses at me, back at my chart, back across the glasses, back at the chart. I said, what are you doing? Why do you keep looking at me and looking at the chart? And she says, I don't know how to tell you this. I said, well, Miss Debbie, the one thing about me, I said, you can't scare me. You know, I'm not going to let a piece of paper or something, what you're going to tell me, scare me, so give it to me raw. And the first thing she said is, you've seen a lot of death in your life. And immediately right there, she passed what I call my 10-second test. My 10-second test is you must tell me something about me that there's no way in the world that you should be able to know. And by looking at a piece of paper, she was able to tell me right off that's the first thing out of her mouth. You dealt with a lot of death in your life. I said, yeah, what? She said, no, I mean like, you know, maybe guns and things like that. I said, yeah, me on both ends, behind the trigger and in front of the barrel. And then she just went in for like the next 3 hours, and I became a fan / follower / neophyte, and that was 11 years ago, and I haven't stopped. There was 2 big boosts in my career, well, my learning experience with astrology. One was when I met Sister Myra in 2006 maybe, and she quantum leaped me. Because I came in, I had a good foundation from Miss Debbie and Letissa, who was a Capricorn. So I went Aquarius, Capricorn, and I can't remember Miss Debbie's sign. And then I ran into Sister Myra, good God Almighty, Moon 15 degrees in Gemini. And then she quantum leaped me. And then this past year in December, I ran into Ra Aku, the Academy of Cosmophysics. And he put some high-octane jet fuel and rocket fuel in my ship, and he quantum leaped me again. And then I ran into you, and so then you kicked me in the butt some more and said, hey, take some of this right here, put some of these pocket rockets. So I'm enjoying the ride and just looking forward to where it's going. But I will not be getting off this navigating the sun, moon, and stars trip ever. Not this lifetime. I'll be on this until I take my last breath.
Yeah, it's an amazing journey, and I really want to thank Sister Myra for being the point of connection between me and you when I had her on my show both times, and I got to get Ra on the show as well because he's amazing, and I think we could do some pretty interesting stuff. So this has been a really great experience, getting to know you and some of the people in your community. Let's talk a little bit about this cardinal cross. Maybe we can break down each of the stations that's going on right now. So what I wanted to do with you is I wanted to just throw out let's throw out Mars in Libra right now. Mars is in Libra, it's opposing Uranus, and let's just start with those 2 angles, those 2 axes. What is your take on this Mars in Libra, and especially in the midst of this opposition?
You want me to go personal or international?
You can do both, man. This is we can start with the personal, and then we can zoom out.
Okay, so personal, because I love relationships. Libra being justice, ma'at, relationships. And me, I'm not a fan of the 7th house being the house of marriage. That's just me personally. I say the 8th house is marriage, but that's just, I'm not trying to rewrite any books right now, argue with anybody, but how we relate to people, to people on a personal level, as well as how do we relate to ourselves. So Mars, the agitator, is in there and saying, I'm going to stir up some shit, because I want to see what's happening. But what I think a lot of people are missing with the Mars and Saturn is he's activating this Saturn energy. And you have to go back to like what Sister Myra taught me of energy unfolds. Saturn just came out of a hellaciously crazy long retrograde in Saturn, in Libra, where everybody was like, damn, everybody was looking at their relationships like, you mean I have to tell the truth?
Yeah, right.
You mean I gotta come clean?
Right.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
And then Saturn was like, well, you don't have to. You have 2 options. You can keep on telling secrets, and after I come and turn direct on June the 28th, I'm going to just galvanize that. So if you were lying, I'm going to galvanize that in cement. I called it writing in wet cement. And I'm just going to keep it there for another 29 years, and you're going to have to live with it. Option 2 is my little friend, Mars is going to come through here, and no matter what I do, he's going to shake it up. He's going to shake it up before he catches up with me. When he catches up with me, oh, hell, we really going to have a party and a fiesta together. And then he's going to shoot off into Scorpio, me and him together. Hot damn. So honesty is really the only way I can see people on a personal level putting out their safeguards for Mars and Libra. On an international level, especially with this opposition to Uranus, well, the opposition with Uranus on a personal level is all these surprises happening in people's relationships. Venus came in and kicked that in with the retrograde, and she said, hey, here's a past lover. Hey, here's a past situation. Hey, I need you to be a past lover and bring up a past situation for somebody else. Ha, 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 ha. And if we had been dealing, and it's really all a barometer, because if we had been dealing in low levels of vibration and low levels of honesty, then it was definitely a possible chance for it to get violent. Definitely.
Yeah.
When you move to the international level, well, shit, all our governments operate off of lying, deceit, and dishonesty. So you can expect some more of this because, well, I'm not going to say unfortunately, but energy still unfolds, whether it's personally or whether it's on an international level. So the assassination that we saw yesterday was the first. Not the last. It just set it off. That's what Mars is. Mars is the igniter. He likes to set things off, and then you have people call them copycat crimes, where there's copycat energy that's going to keep on unfolding under this. So that's my particular take. And plus, Uranus being in Aries, it's so personal. The change is so personal. And then you got to look at a person's personal chart. So maybe later when we get into the readings, if somebody wants to know something about that, you would have to, because Mars is, all this is happening in my first and seventh. So I got my first house of personality and how I respond to the world with Mars, and then Uranus is in my seventh house. So I have to look at that personally, and I have to help tons of clients look at that personally for themselves, and then how do they translate that into navigating their own lives. And then I can't wait till we get to this new moon in Cancer. Whew. But yeah, that's how I take on that right now.
Yeah, I would totally agree. And getting back to your thing on the house of marriage, you know, I think that there's some merit to that, and I'll tell you why. Because the seventh house is a cardinal house, right? I mean, it gets things going, it initiates things. But the eighth house is a fixed house, right? So if you keep that in mind or take that to heart, then having a sacred bond or consecrating a relationship in the form of marriage would be ideally in the eighth house. And the other thing with the eighth house too is that it's legacy, and it's things like back in the olden times you would get dowries and things like that, which would be a very eighth house kind of experience. So I'm with you on that, on the eighth house as being the place where the sacred bond, the alchemical bond of marriage does take place. And the other thing I wanted to just chime in on with that Mars Saturn piece, and this is something that I've been thinking about for a while, and I'd love your opinion on this. You know, as astrologers, we look at the orbs from 10 degrees in really as being the key indicators of how hot the energy is or how cool the energy is, whether it's a square or an opposition or a conjunction. A while ago, I just had this realization that it didn't really matter what degree it was in, that as soon as a planet shifted signs, that it would begin to impact any other planet that was either in that sign or in relation to that sign, whether it was 29 degrees or 1 degree or exact, and only because of its energetic proximity. Now, of course, the closer it gets, the more intense it gets, but I just think that this whole concept of 10 degrees and 5 degrees is kind of old school, and that in order for us to understand how astrology is evolving, we need to expand it out to 29 degrees or 30 degrees and begin to see the influence and the vibrations and the waves happening like as soon as it happens. What's your take on that?
Man, I love you. I love you. I love you. I'm going to go back to the Capricorn who brought me in halfway. We would never stop at 10 degrees because there was we just started noticing a lot of 11-degree aspects, and we was like, wait a minute, we got to look at this. And then we started looking at 13 degrees. And then when I started dealing with cosmophysics, he said signs square one another. So Aquarius and Taurus, if there's Mars at 1 degree Aquarius and there's Pluto at 28 degrees Taurus, I cannot overlook that because I have to take everybody into the bathroom for a second. When you're actually sitting on the toilet, there's real action. But when you leave out, there's still an indicator that action took place. You know? So I didn't want to get too vulgar, but when you leave, somebody walk by the bathroom and be like, damn, Robert, will you put on the vent? That's the same thing as a Mars-Pluto separated by 15 degrees or 28 degrees. They're in the same sign. They're in the same house,
Right.
So and I like the classics. Now, I like the dinosaurs like, Frankie Beverly and Rick James and, KRS-One, Elvis Presley, but only when it starts to get into their realm. I'm not going to ignore this new technology that's coming out, just like before, people won't even recognize the influence of Pluto. And now they're saying there's 4 more planets outside of Pluto. We just don't have enough information to bring it in. But they're still influencing us.
Right.
So I totally agree. And over at the Academy of Cosmophysics, which you are in there, that's exactly how we look at it. You know what I'm saying? We got to expand because research extends into infinity.
Yeah, I would agree. And I don't think you want to take an afflicted Uranus into the bathroom. Let's be clear about that.
Don't do it. Don't. Only unless you stay by yourself.
So let's move around the wheel a little bit. Let's jump to the opposition. Let's get into the Uranus Aries. You talked a little bit about that in terms of the back end of Mars Libra. Let's expand on that a little bit. I mean, these things, the Uranus Aries, it's exploding. It's happening worldwide right now. Let's start with the personal and then zoom out again.
Personally, what I like to tell people, I was doing some research last night, like you said, bring my A game. And the last time we had this, some of these particular influences, like in the 1930s.
Right.
And so a lot of us, like me, I wasn't around in the 1930s. So this is a new energy for my present physical body.
Yeah.
And this Uranus and Aries, man, it's like the necessity because I'm just going to talk about America. I could talk about the world, but I'm talking about America. People are so lazy, and we don't want anything to change unless we get a little more money. So we want to keep doing the same things over and over again and get different results, which is why this is one of the most insane countries on the planet because we don't want to, the majority of people who say they want to change don't want to put the work in. Yeah. So Uranus is saying, I'm going to shake your ass up. I'm going to do something that's going to evolve you. We're going to stop on a dime. We're going to do a killer crossover like Allen Iverson, and we're going to do it all up in your face. Now, period. And we're going to do it for a couple of years. So I think people should start taking more yoga classes, start bending over and start touching your toes more, becoming more flexible. Mm-hmm. Because if you're not flexible, you're not going to be able to get the high side of what's available while Uranus is in Aries. Because Uranus is saying, I'm bringing 2 loads, I'm bringing some good shit, and I'm bringing some funky shit. Which one do you want?
Right.
So me, myself, I have to get real personal and say, I'm going to do what it takes. But the thing is, this is the paradigm leap. This is the quantum gas that we've been looking for our engines to leap back to the future. This is the gas of the whole square, the T square, the cross. That's the gas.
Yeah.
Because it's explosive. It's an explosive change. So, and like I said, it's happening to me in my 7th house. So I'm really ducking down. I'm like, man, I'm single. I don't have any children. What the hell? What's coming? What's coming? What's coming? But you can't ask Uranus what's coming. He's not going to answer you.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. And when you add in the square, the Pluto Capricorn square, which is endurance, right? I mean, that's what Pluto and Capricorn is all about. It's about being able to endure. And there are a lot of people, on the planet right now who are, really in the midst of some pretty heavy endurance, whether it's financial, whether it's health, whether it's emotional. I mean, a lot of people, they're like on a cliff face, and they've got their fingers, digging into that cliff face, trying to get up the Capricornian mountain. I mean, that's kind of where we are. And Uranus in Aries is interesting because on one level, it challenges us to figure out how to get up the mountain faster, which is, I think, exactly what you're talking about. And
Robert,
go ahead.
Hey man, you just generated. You just dropped the Alka-Seltzer in my water, and I didn't mean to cut your wisdom off, but wow, exposure of patterns. Because in some of my research, it talks about the sexual nature. The sexual nature that can come up from this square, because Pluto is orgasms, and Pluto is sex, and Scorpion attire. So now this could be kind of ugly, but I have to say this because I deal with a lot of women in domestic violence. Yeah. If you're in a relationship that is violent, here's your opportunity to use this square to propel yourself out of it. Because I look at squares, it's a challenge, but it's also a character builder. And a lot of women get in these things and say, well, I'm his wife now, so I can't call it rape. No, that's bullshit. Yeah. You understand? It is rape. No means no. And there are going to be some people who are operating at the lower vibration of this particular square in this aspect that could become violent. Mm-hmm. And so the women who may have been traditionally on the receiving end of this, please, if you can hear this call, if you're listening, here's your time to get out of that. And I mean leap out of it. Not run away, but to really stand on top of that and build your character and not be wounded by the things that's been going on in your life or your relationship. And if it's not a present relationship, it may be past relationships where you're moving from one relationship to another, and each of these guys is violent or not or aggressive, and you keep on getting in the same situation. In this relationship piece right here, please, men and women, if everything's cool, if this Pluto in Capricorn is really cool, then the square is what you want. But if it's not cool, then look for a way out, and leap.
Yeah. Well, as you were talking about that, one of the things that popped into my mind was the empty space or the void or the kind of the imagined opposition, which you need to take into place or to take into account when you're talking about stuff like this. So where I went with that was, well, what's the opposite of Pluto in Capricorn? Well, it's Venus, and it's in Cancer. Right, because Pluto is Scorpio, and then the opposite of Scorpio would be Taurus, and Venus we normally associate with Taurus, and then the opposite of Uranus and Aries would be Sun in Libra, right? Because the opposite of Aquarius is Leo, and the Sun represents Leo, and the opposite of Aries is Libra. So to your point, Khayr, the oasis, or the place where people can go if they want to get out of these situations are in the oppositions. Sun and Libra, hello, relationships. Venus and Cancer, hello, nurturing relationships. So that's the antipode to these aspects that you're talking about. And people, I think, need to realize that these are sanctuaries that are open and available to them if they can make those choices.
Man, I know your clients love you. I'm getting ready to book a reading right now because what you just said, I just always put myself in a person who may not speak our language, and I'll be like, wow, if he gave me that, because you gave me remedies. What you just did was remedies, and that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants an ointment for their ailment. And so, to me, what you just said, I'm ready to get off the phone and download this show so I can play that back. That was, you were igniting things in me, but I had to stop for a second and was like, wow, look what he just said. I was like, because Venus is still in Gemini, but but what I need is the Venus in Cancer, and oh man, and yeah, you just blew me a gun right there, so appreciate it.
Well, dude, this is all about synergy. We're creating this, through one mind together right now, and I wouldn't have come up with that, or that wouldn't have come out had you and I not be talking about this in real time and stimulating each other. So this is all one, or one love, right? So
man, yeah, God, I love it.
Yeah. Let's. By the way, You played. I watched that video that you put up on your page last night with Lucy Liu and the Bullets and Jay Electronica. Man, that was amazing. That track.
Man, I'm such an eclectic hip hop head.
Yeah.
Martial artist, Tantra Taoist. So it's a crazy mix. But I really felt that represented me. You know, if I could look at it, you know, Lucy Liu, she was representing the feminine, the martial complex. She was my East Asian Taoist background.
Yeah.
Then the Bullet in the middle, he was bringing in the vocals and the soulfulness and the melody, you know, and he was the center of it. To me, he was the tallest of all three, and he was a focal point. And then, my God, Jay Electronica just came in there and just said, you know, this is where hip hop is going. Period. You know, here's the Jimmy Cliff, the Jimi Hendrix. Here's the Elvis Presley. Here's the New Orleans voodoo. You know, here's the astrological sciences. He has Saturn in his fourth house, by the way. And it's a terrific. It was just a terrific blend, and I was just in that element last night. And then funny that being on the wake of the square that I would even find that video, because I was not looking for that when I was doing last night, and I was just like, wow, I got to check this out.
Yeah, no, that was an amazing video. Speaking of videos, have you seen the Erykah Badu video with the flaming lips?
I have to, because I think I'm the only black person in America who's not seen the video.
I love your take on it, because on one level it's really compelling, and on another level it's incredibly disturbing. You know,
what is it called? Flame on Your Lips?
No, Flaming Lips. They're a band from Oklahoma, right? And Erykah Badu did a version of The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face, right? So it's really slow. It's very ambient, and you get to see Erykah Badu naked, if that's of any interest to you.
Man. Yes, sir.
Well, from an alchemical standpoint, there are three phases to that video. The first phase is gold. The second phase is blood, and the third phase, and you'll appreciate this, is semen. I mean, she is covered literally in this milky white substance, and she goes through all of this in the video. She's covered in gold, she's covered in blood, and she's covered in this effluvial essence of life. Dude, it's a trip. You've got to see this video.
I can't believe nobody gave me that description before about the semen. I would have jumped over there.
I know, man. It's pretty apparent, you know. It's so I love your take on it, and we'll circle back another time and we'll jump in on that. Let's keep moving around the wheel here. Let's get into Pluto and Capricorn. It's the headline of the century. It is the nemesis. It is the master teacher, and we're in it right now in the Matrix. Let's talk about that.
To me, the universe is one huge slot machine. It's one huge slot machine. And the only currency, you know how you go to Vegas, you got the nickel slot, the penny slot, the dollar slot, the $5 slot, the 20 slot. The only thing the universal slot machine takes is humility.
Yeah.
And since time immemorial up till right now today, if you want to get some master lessons from a master teacher, you have to bring him or her humility.
Yep.
And then they'll teach you. Now there may be a cost associated, but the test is always going to be humility. You know, and that's what that symbolizes. I'm here, I'm in Capricorn, I'm going to teach a lesson. Those people who bring humility and are willing to do the work, the hard work, because Capricorn is hard, and take your sexual energy and transmute it through this very small channel, this Kundalini fire, then hey, I'm going to give you a jackpot. But for you other people who want to be stiff-necked and hard-headed, it's going to be rough around here. It's going to be rough. And for me, That's the new world order, not on the economic terms of, the middle class is being eliminated and it's going to have to, if you're not making 100,000, there's going to be poverty. No, on a metaphysical realm, I have to look at the two classes, the super rich and the super poor, are going to be those who are obedient and those who are very hard-headed. And there's not going to be any middle ground because Pluto, come on, man, Pluto moving through Capricorn, just take the Saturn going through Libra and put it on steroids.
Yeah.
It's going to be longer, it's going to be harder, and if you didn't learn honesty with Saturn, then how are you going to make it through this? Everything is telling us to be honest in our relationships. It still goes back. And look at the square. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Capricorn squares Libra. So the square is there, an opportunity for us to step up on our relationships because it's going to be the power couples that are going to be rocking and rolling in the post-2013 era. By the way, I don't know how many conspiracy theories you have, but the quick note, the Earth won't explode in December of this year, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, no, I'm not an advocate of the end time mythology of 2012.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not my thing.
Good.
Yeah. This is an interesting topic you bring up about power couples, because I was thinking, and I've been dealing with some clients, and I've been seeing also people finding each other through this new phase of Saturn in Libra once it's gone direct, and I feel like that there's going to be a very powerful opening, a very powerful opportunity for people that are in committed relationships to go incredibly deeply with this Saturn and Scorpio coming up in October over the course of the next 2.5 years. And that doesn't mean that if you don't have anyone in your life that you're going to be frozen out when Saturn comes into Scorpio, but it means that, if you do enter into a relationship during Saturn and Scorpio, then you better be prepared to deal with the power of sexuality. And in a lot of ways also, Khayr, what I'm beginning to sense as the limitations of the power of sexuality as being influenced by external sources. And one of the stories or the memes that comes to me as a result of this is, the barren emotional landscape of 1984, where love is outlawed, where sex is outlawed, where babies are created through an artificially inseminated environment. So this is in a lot of ways the shadow side of Saturn and Scorpio, the beginnings of the limitations of who can procreate and why. Maybe it's under the guise of overpopulation, who knows? But the other side of that is getting into that procreative process in a really profound and life-changing way on a planetary level. And you're all over this. You just did a Tantra workshop down in Atlanta. And maybe you could talk a little bit about this. Maybe you can get into this Saturn and Scorpio thing that we're about ready to get into.
Oh, man. You got me over here tingling, like my left shoulder coming down through my forearm, like coming down my bicep and tricep is tingling right now. Just, anytime I get into that subject, I have to give honors to my tantric teacher, Grandmaster Sunyata Saraswati, the author of The Jewel and the Lotus. And I would recommend, to me, that's getting ready to be the new Bible. The first 3 chapters really is all you need to read over and over and over again. It's got some good sexual positions in the end, but if you miss the first 3 chapters, the Gomer, Oz, and the Dubar, then you're going to miss a lot. And in that book, and not only just in the book, but living it, sexual energy that is suppressed is going to come out in only one of 2 ways: severe neurosis or physical violence. Mm-hmm. And Saturn, like I said earlier, Saturn coming into Scorpio with a Mars kicker. It's like you're drinking 151 liquor, and then you're putting some moonshine in it, and then you're putting a cigarette lighter on top of it. Yeah. This whole thing, and this is the greatest part about a lot of Indian astrology. People who study the Vedic astrology and don't look at sexuality you missed the boat. Because forget the Mayans. Well, forget them all the way, but let's look at, they weren't the only ones who have this date. And they weren't the only, but the Mayans and the Hindus and the Chinese and the Africans knew about this science of Tantra and it having to come up and rear its head like a Loch Ness monster, and it's not going away. And it's no coincidence that, it's not a coincidence that Saturn will be in Scorpio when the 21st comes around, just like it wasn't a coincidence that Jupiter went direct on Christmas Day last year. What other Christmas present could you want but for Jupiter to go direct in Taurus on Christmas Day? So these things,
True.
These things are coming up, man, and especially I was really looking at when we did the Tantra event. It was on the eve of the Mercury Retrograde, and here we are. Doing all this energy work, women just coming into orgasm, but we were removing blockages. That was the big key. Every woman is wanting to have an orgasm right now, but something in her subconscious is blocking it. How do you remove that blockage? Well, here comes Saturn and Mars to assist a guy like Khayr or somebody who practices Tantra like Ya Morris or Sunyata Saraswati or Juju Mama or whatever. But the people who are still living in the quote-unquote Christian Catholicism, sex is evil, you're going to go to hell type phenomenon, their nervous system is in trouble, period. I mean, because you can't keep lying to yourselves. And now when these planetary energies come in, a sister told me the other day, I said, oh, you're a Scorpio. She says, oh, don't tell me about it. I don't believe in it. I said, well, it's just like gravity and electricity. You don't have to know the formula, but it's still going to affect you. You know,
right.
So you want to ignore it, that's on you. But anybody ignoring this energy, this sexual energy coming up, and it doesn't mean free-for-all. A lot of people are going through and mistranslating it. Oh, I want to be a swinger. I want to be in open marriages. I want to do all these kind of things. You're misinterpreting it, people. You're misinterpreting it. And when you get misled or you misinterpret things, it hurts. It's like you're doing somebody's chart, and they told you they were born at 7:05 p.m., and they were actually born at 3 o'clock a.m. You can't really give them good predictive astrology.
No.
You can't give them stuff off of poor information. So, I mean, people are going to really, like I said, in relationships, once again, Scorpio is sex. And a lot of women say, I'm not having sex until I get married. Some men are saying, I'm not having sex until I'm getting married. So that's my premise of the sex and the marriage going along with the Scorpio. And so now our relationships, those of us dating, us super bachelors like me and you and other people I can name, we had it rough. But I can just imagine what, these people who are actually married, what they're going to have to go through. If you've been telling the truth and everything is on the up and up, man, you don't have anything to worry about. But if you've been lying and cheating and doing all this other kind of stuff, and I don't believe in the word cheating. I practice progressive love, which probably could do on another show. But there's no such thing as the word cheating. There's a word called extreme jealousy and bullshit, but there's no such thing as cheating. But, it's going to get rough after October for people who don't want to bring honesty to the forefront of how they deal with individuals. And that goes for governments, too. Going to go, the WikiLeaks that they had last year. Mm-hmm. Some of those influences are still unfolding right now. So,
right,
lots of big stuff happening.
Yeah, and then even the merit or the validity of WikiLeaks will come under question too, because some of the people in the alternative research world believe that WikiLeaks is, like a limited front, like it's a limited hang, and it's being used at times to further agendas under the guise of quote unquote truth. So a lot of the stuff that I think you're talking about is going to come to light. And the other thing that I've been feeling about the Saturn Scorpio, and for a while now, is the emergence of a new, potentially very deadly STD. And I think it's going to get people, refocused on, sharing their energy in a very, enlightened, focused, committed kind of way with another person. I think that, in a lot of ways, is going to be the marker of the outside influence. And you know, in my estimation, it'll probably be manufactured and artificial, you know, just like AIDS was when it was unleashed on the public. And so I think we're really kind of, you know, having the unfortunate nightmare and potential of staring down another version of AIDS or AIDS revisited or something along those lines, because a lot of the Saturn and Scorpio energy is going to be impacting the Pluto and Scorpio generation, who have been pretty promiscuous and really into intense contact with supernatural or altered states of awareness, whether it's through drugs or, you know, alcohol, a lot of alcohol or sex. That's been their domain since they came of age, really, right around the age of 16, and a lot of them are now in their mid-20s. So I think this is going to impact them most immediately. So let's jump over to Moon and Cancer, and then we're going to transition. We've got a long line of people that want to talk. So let's get into Moon and Cancer. Then let's talk to some people on the phone here. What's your? I mean, this is now transitory. We're here now. The other three aspects are going to be in play for a while, but today we've got a very special kind of moment with this moon and the approach of the new moon and all that stuff. And you know, it's actually, I think, a very fragile moment, to be honest with you. Let's get into that for a little bit.
You're on my sweet spot now. I love all the planets, but the moon is my baby. For the last 3.5 years, I've been running a program on how to manifest any two desires in 28 days using the 8 emotions of the moon. And currently we are in the second emotion of the moon, which is the planting phase, where we are giving the universe our desires. We're meditating heavy like a pregnant woman and impregnating the universe. And then when this new moon comes along, it's going to be time for us to clear out the things that are in our way. So I really look at me being an opportunist and a strategist of astrology and cosmophysics. I look at what am I supposed to be doing now with this moon in Cancer. And I can only go personal because moon is in Cancer. So I can't do anything else but be personal with it.
Yeah.
And the emotional context, but Cancer is magic. Cancer is magic. This moon in Cancer is asking us to please, please, please embrace our magic, especially women. Men have a level of magic, but nothing in comparison to the magic that women have that's not being utilized because they're not even paying attention to it. And the magic of this cardinal cross that is all in the moon. When you look at the Uranus-Pluto square, when you look at the Mars-Uranus opposition, when you look at the you look at everything else, it's all about violence and sex and all that. But as soon as you bring the moon in, it brings emotion and magic in to help us get past this. Because you're going to have to face it, but you can deal with it with love. You can deal with it with the nurturing component. And I really am thankful to the universe, because I know this is a galactical broadcast just like mine, that the universe said, we're going to let the moon be up here at this square, at this cross, versus something like Jupiter or the sun or anything like that. You know, it brought in the mama aspect, you know, with all these big wigs and stuff. It was like, okay, everybody, it'll be all right. This too shall pass. But she came through to see, and she wants to test. She wants to test her victors. She wants to see, did you learn your lesson from Gemini? Because when we came through Gemini, that was the gateway. But you get the power in Cancer, and Mama Spirit is never going to give a timid ruler any power. So she wants to see, do you trust in me, in the spirit, in the magic, or are you trusting on your logical left brain? And that's where the Tantra comes back in. It's a right brain thing, people. You can't come in. I've had a young lady call me like 3 times in the last 2 days since I left Atlanta talking about Tantra, and she's trying to get it from her left brain. And I'm saying, baby, go take a shower, because it ain't going to work. You got to get out of that and move over into the right brain. And that is where the moon, in my personal research and experiences, that's where she lies at, you know, in right brain activity, because you can't deal with logic and reason and magic on the same paradigm. And right now, I'd suggest that people get more miracles in their life than trying to decredit whores. Oh, I did this. Look what I did, Robert. Robert, look at me. I'm Khayr. I did this because I did. that's retarded. I want to say, man, God is great. That was a miracle. I don't know
Right.
how it happened, but I'll take it.
Right. And you know what's interesting, too, is that feeds into the humility channel, which is opposite Pluto and Capricorn. So you're staying, humility is the art of staying open. I mean, that's really what it's about. And I think that you're dialed into that. The other thing, too, Khayr, that really clicked for me as you were talking about the feminine psyche and the feminine consciousness with Moon and Cancer was, in our culture, and some of it has been, I think, pretty overt and conscious. We've seen the militarization of the feminine psyche, and you can see it in pieces of popular culture. For instance, Beyonce, when she talks about calling all men, or when you hear that track, I mean that's a military beat, that's a marching beat, and it's the militarization again of the feminine psyche as it manifests in a very popular icon. If you look at Rihanna, where was she? She was in Battleship. Again, the militarization of the feminine psyche through a popular icon. And while I think it's important for women to have a sense of empowerment, I think the militarization of the feminine psyche has taken place at a great cost or great price to the softer, more nurturing feminine contours of that psyche. And here we have Moon and Cancer, and I think that having you on this show is an interesting moment in time, because I don't know, I just get this sense that it's a very strong quality and aspect that has been really degraded in our culture. It's almost like if you are a woman and you're soft and you're feminine and you're loving and you're caring, you're considered weak. Get off that trip. Get into the aggressive militarization of your own sexuality. And I think that it's unfortunately it's a shame that this has occurred, because we're losing out on an incredible amount of really potent healing energy for both sexes.
Totally. I don't even know. I can't add on. Everybody should just download the show and just keep putting on repeat what you just said like 20 times. Like, there's nothing else to add on to that. It's the rise of that feminine energy, but it still must be balanced. And my suggestion is everybody please go watch the movie Bolt, B-O-L-T. It is the quintessential movie for the 21st century on relationships and the only way they will work. There's 3 types of relationships. 2 of them are losers. One is the father-mother relationship, the father-daughter relationship, where the man is in that relationship and he's proportionally older, or he's taking the role of the father while the woman is being, oh, save me, I'm the daughter. Well, she's always going to manipulate him through her emotions, so he loses. Then you got the son and mother relationship, where the mother's always going to drown him out with her water. She's going to put his fire out because she's afraid that when he grows up, something bad may happen to him. Well, then the only thing left is the brother-sister combination. And the movie Boat is the best. They should give me some money for this, because I know about 10,000 people now going to go run and buy the movie and watch it again. But the cat had to teach the dog about being a dog, and the dog had to teach the cat how to be a cat, but only when they were fair with one another.
Right.
So this rise of feminine energy, ladies, is not about the return of the goddess and we're the shit now and men get down on one knee. And no.
Right.
Because if you abuse his power, you'll get taken out too. Pluto's a killer. Pluto don't care about whether you're a man or female. He'll make it hard on you either way, and he'll cause disease all up in your rectum, all up in your mammary glands, all up in your, in your fibroids. So don't play around. If you want to get rid of these diseases, be fair with the new energy that you're getting. This goes for men and women. It's very important.
Spoken like a true Moon and Libra male. I appreciate that. Bring the balance. Okay, speaking of balance, we have organically reached 60 minutes in our in-depth discussion with a very special guest today, Mr. Khayr Love, and we're going to open up the phone lines. Are you ready for that?
Man, I am. Now, I know Ra Aku is listening in because I'm seeing him in the chat room, so I want to give a big shout-out to him before you even open the lines up. So And if you want to bring him on, I don't know if he's called in or not, but I guess we'll get surprised today. But I'm ready.
Okay, so let's. So here's how I do things on the show. I don't do full charts. Because I generally have a pretty long line of people calling in. So I just go solar chart and read off the ephemeris for folks. Now I can do that, and I can start the experience on the ephemeris with people. And if you want to take that information, if they give out a birth time and you want to create a natal chart while we're doing that, then you can completely do that, or you can chime in with me on the ephemeris side and do the solar. It'll be up to you. I'll let you just kind of figure that out. Is that okay?
Man, my name's Tonto, and your name is the Lone Ranger. You go ahead and drive this car, and I'm going to hold the legs.
All right, so I want to bring on the first guest, first caller. They've been holding 56 minutes and 45 seconds, which is the entirety of the show so far, so let's reward their patience and bring them on. Hello, you're on the air with Robert and Khayr. How's it going?
Peace. This is Rob.
Hey, man, top of the order. Batting lead off. What's going on, Rob?
I'm chilling, man. I'm sitting back listening to you guys build on the trends, and I look at it, on a broader level than just where the transiting positions of the planets are, their stations. I'm looking at the entire cycle involving the planets that are aspecting one another. In other words, I'm looking at the Uranus-Pluto square as, part of an entire cycle. Yeah. From Uranus-Pluto conjunction, which spans from anywhere from 115 to 125 years approximately. It wobbles back and forth between those numbers. And I'm looking at, when we quarter that into 26, 27, 28, 29-year periods of time, how that, is resonating in society. I really dug what you said about Saturn in Scorpio and or Pluto in Capricorn, because they're interchangeable, about the restrictions placed on reproduction, this eugenic program and Planned Parenthood and all of that stuff is going to come to the fore in a really strong and noticeable way through the next coming years, And, it's like almost anticipation, right? Because, doing this cosmophysics, a.k.a. astrology, we're looking at cycles that indicate similar circumstances and repetition in history, and only we really know. I mean, those who study really know and understand what that is. So, even though there's going to be a lot of corruption, and stink, political and societal stink involved in it, we have to look at our own evolutionary path in the midst of all this tribulation and find a way to make it work for ourselves, particularly those who were born with Saturn and Pluto in tight alignment at birth, be it trine, sextile, square, opposition, quincunx. It makes no difference, if they're in tight alignment in the birth chart, then it's going to ring loudly, it's going to ring very loudly for those who are here to experience the trends that come of it. And, it's like, how do you let everybody know? I mean, that's just my state of mind, At any rate, I'm really digging your show. I've been listening to you, and, referring you to people. So, pardon me for getting your name wrong. I mean, I actually was thinking Robert when I wrote Richard.
That's all right, man.
Yeah. But I don't want to take too long. You got a lot of people. So, go ahead and do your thing, man, and let me learn some more.
All right. Hey, Rob, in the next week or a couple of weeks, we're going to get you on the show. We'll do a full-time segment with you because you've got some pretty enlightening stuff about the social condition, and I want to tap your brain for some of that, okay?
Okay, no problem, man. Just hit me on my inbox, man. Let me know, or let Coach know,
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for chiming in, and stay strong, all right?
All right, I will. You too. Peace and peace, Coach Khayr.
Peace, 361, Lord. Cosmophysics, I'm going to holler at you.
All right, 19 too.
All right, that's raw. Ra. Ra is Ra, is he not, Khayr?
Boy. You got to. We're not going to get in between the other caller, but I have to tell people that Robert Phoenix came on the Academy of Cosmophysics show about 4 weeks ago and put on a grand show, and we had a ball. So please, everybody, go back and find that. I'm going to go try to find the show and put the link in the chat room because, I mean, that night right there, that was fiesta, mi casa, su casa, pop bottles, light cigars, like front row at the Forum in a Lakers-Celtics game. I mean,
that was an amazing show, man. I got to admit that was off the hook. Yeah, all around, all around. That was the All-Star game.
That was it. That was it.
All right, let's jump into another call here. 646, you've been waiting again for a very long time, and let's reward your patience. Oh, hello, you're on here with Robert and Khayr.
Thank you. I'm loving the show. I am loving the show. Coach Khayr, you have introduced me to so many people. Sister Myra, I found you through Alexis K. Tyler. Robert, I've listened to your shows. I've downloaded them. So thank you for all this knowledge. I'm new to this astrology, this cosmophysics, and I'm just curious as how to apply it to my life. I'm learning about the cycles, and I'm a Gemini. I was born May 25th, 1977, and I guess I just want to know more, like how can I apply this, this energy. I broke up from a Libra in December, found out he was, I know you don't like the word cheating, but cheating, and I've been dating a lot, and I learned a lot through my relationships. I recognize a lot, and I'm involved with a Libra and a Scorpio a Sagittarius right now, which is my polar opposite. But I'm learning a lot from him also, so I guess I kind of want some guidance.
Well, I got your May 25th, 77. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm looking at your solar here with the ephemeris. Khayr, do you want to maybe dial up a birth chart for her if she gives you a time?
Sure, I can. I've already got some of the information in, and I was going to go over and look at her destiny cards too. But when's your birth? I just need to know like what city you're in now and what time were you born?
I'm in Queens, New York, and I think I was born around 3 p.m. on a Friday.
Okay, that's enough information for me. I'll just wait till Robert goes in on the ephemeris because I'm learning from him as well, and then I'll have something for you.
Well, you've got Jupiter in Gemini, and so you're in the midst of your Jupiter return, which is going to expand your Gemini sun. So they're conjunct, and they're conjunct by 7 degrees. And what's interesting is your Jupiter is ahead of your sun, which means theoretically that Jupiter leads your exploration, which is expansion. And Jupiter is the second sun, and so you've got this really powerful energy with these two large gaseous bodies, one which gives life and one which with the right elements could turn into a second sun, which would theoretically give even more life. And in fact, there have been visions of our world and our solar system in the future with two suns. And Jupiter theoretically could play that role. So given that, you are incredibly curious, really, really curious. And,
yes.
You've got Venus in Aries. And Venus in Aries is a pioneer in terms of relationships and how relationships work. I don't necessarily think that old school rules really apply to you in relationships. You've also got Mars in Aries as well, and your Mars is exactly conjunct your Venus, which is really, really powerful. It makes you very attractive, and it makes you seem at times and appear at times as somebody's, fantasy or somebody's ideal, because you're bringing the perfect balance of male-female with Mars and Venus, and both of them are at 20 degrees, which is the number of relationships. 20 is 2, right? So you're very appealing. You'll never go without a relationship. I mean, Yeah, I mean, that's just a given. And you'd be attracted, obviously, to Libras because they're your opposite with that really extremely tight Venus and Mars conjunction. You'd be attracted to Sagittarius as well with the opposite with your Sun and Jupiter. What's also interesting, too, is you've got your true node, which is in Libra. And the true node, what we know about the true node, or how I practice the true node, is that's your true north. And that's where you want to, that's the North Star that you want to follow in your life. And it's about relationships. So what I would suggest to you is become an expert on relationships, not just the relationships in your own life, but relationships in general. It's so heavily loaded in your chart. You're searching for the other. With Jupiter and the Sun, in Gemini, it's the search for the other. It's the internal search for the other. Libra is the external search for the other. And you've got Pluto in Libra as well. So relationships transform you in a very big way. I'll throw one more layer on top of this. Black Moon Lilith in Gemini. Here we go. Again, the theme repeating itself. And it's not always about, who you're in relationship with, but what they evoke in you. And Black Moon Lilith in Gemini is that hidden aspect of everybody's feminine psyche that we're all trying to kind of understand and come to terms with. And for you, it's relationship is really going to bring it out. And the last thing, and I'm going to pass it over to Coach, is you've got Chiron and Taurus. And Chiron and Taurus is all about the body. And while you've got all this really fiery stuff going on with Mars and Venus and a lot of the air, it's a very combustible, very, alchemically rich combination of elements. But when it really comes down to it, when the rubber hits the road, the part of you where you're the most vulnerable is your body. And your body is your last sanctuary to intimacy. And Chiron and Taurus is really going to be, kind of an ongoing evolution about, this layer of glamour in some ways, and this layer of socialization and communication and bonding with the concept of relationships versus the dropping down into the first and second chakras and really opening up and really being intimate and finding the one person that has the kind of the lock, the key to your lock, so to speak. And that's your ongoing work. So I'm going to pass it over to Coach and let him run with this now.
That was deep. Thank you. Wow.
You're welcome.
Drop bombs. I know if I was you on my show, Robert, I've been dropping sound effects all over that right there. You have a Libra rising, which is, just like you said, learning about relationships. That's how you go into the world. One of the things with all that sex appeal and being so sexy with the Mars and Venus, don't be upset when somebody approaches you from a sexual standpoint first, because sex means life force. A lot of women say, oh, my God, especially all Scorpio risings, I can't believe he just wants to have sex with me. What about my mind? What about my mind? What about your planetary position? He can't help it. He'll learn about your mind later, So don't get disgruntled, because some people don't have the sex appeal that you have. And sex appeal is God force energy. I also noticed that the 20s that he was talking about, when it's directly opposite of Pluto, which is at another master number of 11, which is another relationship number. You got Pluto at 11 degrees in Libra. So learning about not only your spiritual destiny of the North Node, but where you came from. God can only grow when he does the opposite. He or she does the opposite of what you've already mastered. So you've already mastered this Aries energy. But since Aries rules your 7th house, you want to be the center of attention. Not only, in all relationships. You want to come to the cookout, you want everybody to know, hey, she's here. In a relationship with a man, he has to know who you are, because Aries is I am. But that may tend to some greediness in relationships. It may tend to lead to some outbursts and anger in relationships. It may lead with some over-concerns with survival. Now, anybody who's got big sex appeal, who's over-concerned with survival, can easily start manipulating men and women. People who don't train in Tantra, but who got it naturally, you start to become abusive. You're supposed to use people. You're supposed to use me and Robert, but you're not supposed to abuse us. So when you got all this sex appeal with that Pluto opposition, maybe it has happened. Hopefully it has not. Hopefully you're at the age now where you can say, oh, yeah, in the past, but moving forward, I want to put that behind me. I would really get into, like you said, and then I'm not the expert. I've just started working on the Lilith and the dark moon. I would really, but what I have researched for my own is there's a lot of insight in that. Stay away from those guilty pleasures that support you. If you want to get some extra, you got to step outside of your comfort zone. And that's for everybody. I tell everybody that. You know, everything you desire is right outside your comfort zone. And your comfort zone is your south node, which is in Aries. But you've already mastered that. So why keep doing that over and over again? The only thing you came down to the planet to do is grow, and the G in growth is for God. You got an exciting chart. You got tons of potential as far as with the oppositions. You got massive trines, which what I call is the steroids of the universe. Work towards them. You know, find out what those are. Get a reading from Robert, from somebody, and you know, really get in depth. I don't want to hold up the show too long, but to me, you know, work on your diplomacy intact. Work on sharing and learning more about who you really are.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got, and Khayr mentioned this briefly, but you've got a lot of master numbers showing up in your chart. 11 degrees Jupiter, 11 degrees Saturn, 11 degrees Pluto, 22 degrees North Node. So, you know, you have the potential of really, you know, locking down some pretty powerful wisdom and realization and sharing it with others in a responsible and accountable fashion. So, well, thank you for calling in the show, and don't be a stranger to my show or Khayr's show, okay?
Thank you so much. This was really great, and you guys are really on point. I appreciate it.
Hey, it's our pleasure.
Thank you.
You rock, girl. You rock.
All right, we're going to say goodbye to our friend on 646. Let's go to the 703. We're going to go to the 703 line and find out who they are and what they want to talk about.
Namaskar. This is M. Scotty Cogdell calling.
Hello, Scotty. M. Scotty. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm thoroughly enjoying this show. And I noticed that there's a lag between the online version and when you're calling on the phone. I was in between the two when I called in. You're saying something about the personal reading. And if it's still available, I only want like just 2 words for mine. I don't need a long explanation, but maybe I do. Let me remove myself from the equation. But my birthday is March 20, 1976 at 3:28 in the morning. Okay. I'm not trying to take up anybody else's time too much.
Oh, no, man. This is your time. You've been extremely patient. You're holding, so I'm just punching up the ephemeris here. And how many times have people said beam me up, Scotty, to you, by the way?
Every day of my life, just about, and I love it. Because she cannot handle that cotton, she's going to blow. So I got to handle the situation and make sure that we get where we're going at warp speed or on impulse power.
When your friends are in distress, I bet you they say, "Hey, Scotty, can you just beam me up, man? Can you just get me out of here?" You know, right?
You get that right, and I do my best to be there for my friends whenever they are in distress. Sometimes at the expense of myself, but that part I don't mind that much.
Okay, I've got your solar up here with the ephemeris, which is March 20th, 1976. What time were you born, Scotty?
3:28 in the a.m.
And where did that take place?
In Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Okay. Khayr, you want to tackle those coordinates while I get into the ephemeris here for a little bit?
Already got him.
Beautiful. Okay. So the thing that jumps out to me, Scotty, is you're on that anaretic degree with your sun at 29 degrees. And that's a really powerful placement. And I know this personally because I'm a 29-degree person myself, and you and I are actually complete opposites. So I'm 29 degrees Virgo, and what I'm seeing here is 29 degrees Pisces. So we're the antipodes for one another's life. And what I know about the 29th degree is that we have to really hang out with the sign that it's in. You know, the sign has reached its fulfillment, almost its climax, and there's just one more degree to go before it kicks over and is in the next sign, which is just ripe and potent with energy, the 0 degree portal. And a lot of us want to just get to that next degree. And for you, it's Aries. For me, it would be Libra. And so we're really attracted to all things Aries or all things Libra, but we can't go there. We are brought always and consistently back to that 29th degree in our sign. And what's interesting about the 29th degree, if you add it up numerologically, it's 11. And the 0 degree is actually 22 as well, in a weird way. Like if you look at Tarot, the 22nd card theoretically is the Fool in Tarot, which is also the 0 card. So 22 is the application, the physical application of mastery. 29 is the kind of with the intellectual or the spiritual application of mastery, meaning a lot of it takes place in the mental realm or in the non-physical realm. So for people like you and I, we have to hang out in that sign so we can generate the spiritual wisdom and the spiritual capacity to tap into, you know, for lack of a better term, self-mastery. And with Pisces being the 29th degree for you, it's about staying in sort of the divine and mystical sweet spot, because that's what Pisces is. And to hang out there and to be okay with the fact that maybe you're not as dynamic as you would like to be at times, you know, with the swashbuckling 0 degrees Aries coming in to save the day or save the world. But you're, you know, instead of being, you know, Luke Skywalker, you're Yoda. I mean, that's the 29th degree of Pisces. It's the culmination of Pisces. It is the wisdom of the ages.
So
and
like this is my last lifetime.
Yeah, you know, I could see that. And I think for you to really fully embrace that is to be okay. And I don't want to say this.
That's a wonderful thing. I'm a meditator. I love it.
I don't want to say this with you know, and saying you're never going to amount to anything or you're never going to accomplish anything, because I think that that's a misnomer.
I've already done it.
Yeah, because you're a dragon, right? I mean, you're a very powerful dragon. So the most important thing that if there's something you want to take away with, for me at least in this reading, is to get into that Taoist sweet spot and to do without doing. That is really where your magic is.
The way.
And to do that is to just be. You know, your dominant chord in this lifetime is to be. And out of that beingness, everything else around you is impacted. Everything around you is impacted. You don't have to do anything. You just have to show up and completely be who you are and watch the magic unfold. And that's the beauty of that 29th degree. You got a little bit of an interesting, I wouldn't call it an opposition, but your Chiron is in Aries at 26 degrees. So the challenge with Chiron, I'll start at the beginning and I'll go to the end. The challenge with Chiron is that we want to be able to kind of backfill where we think we're falling short. You know, Chiron is, you know, where the world shoves us down when we want to, you know, show our own particular brand of genius or what makes us unique. And you've got it in Aries. And so a lot of times when people have Chiron in Aries, they aren't always comfortable with leadership roles or other people having leadership roles that they don't believe in or trust. So over the course of their lifetime, they need to become more comfortable with leadership or this quality of leadership in their life. And what's interesting for you is that that's a real focus. That's a really important focus. But the key to that is at that 29th degree of your sun, and it's a spiritual leadership, it's a receptive leadership, and it's a leadership that's based on surrender. And we don't always often equate leadership with surrender. So, but that is your, I think, at the top of your chart, I think that's your mission. So I'll pass it over to Khayr, and I'll let him get into some of these details here with you.
Thank you. I love you for that. Namaskar.
Thank you.
Oh, man. Robert, you're making it hard on me to come behind you, boy. Good gracious. You look like John Holmes right now. I'm gonna have to come with some little, you know what I'm saying, with just some the energy flow right now, because you were really up in the brother's stuff right there, which you saw some things that really jumped out, and it really helped me ignite looking at some other things, especially the sun. Sun being an indicator is still a fire planet, and it's in a water house, so you stay restless. When Jupiter was in Pisces before he came in Aries last year, he was restless as hell, because here I am, this big fire planet, but I'm in a sign of water. And so, like Robert said, wanting to get there and be the swashbuckler, cavalier, Aries type thing is pulling you. Turn your speakers down a little bit, too, on your computer. That might be what the feedback is. But resisting the pull, staying in place, and when it's necessary for you to be there, like you said, finding that sweet spot of the dial, you're supposed to be there. I went straight to your North Node, and then I said, all right, the Scorpio part, he's kicking that. But so the South Node is, what are some of these personal poisons he's got to get rid of to really unlock what Robert is giving you? And really, he's just translating it because you came with it. But the astrological chart always has certain combinations that you must be obedient to in order for all those things of fulfillment to be given to you. One of the things I always say is you must honor Saturn. Your Saturn is in a good aspect because he's trining Mercury, trining the Sun, trining your emotions. So he's stabilizing all those influences, but you still got that South Node in Taurus, which is sensual appetites, drugs, alcohol, sex, and too much sex. Being stubborn as hell. You know, a Taoist is supposed to go with the flow, but in your case, the universe tested you and tried to put the word stubborn in front of Tao. And you know that stubborn can't go in front of Tao. So as soon as you remove stubborn, then you will actually be in the Tao. That is your test. Your South Node in Taurus is your test, because you don't have anything in Earth. Like your ascendant is in Earth, but you're just all water. You got one planet in air, 3 planets with 2 planets in fire, but nothing in Earth. But you still need that grounding. You can't stay out in space all the time. So also watch your health. Be very diligent in that. You got that retrograde Saturn in your 6th house. So it's very hard to outwork you. And you're going to have a good recovery when you do get sick, as long as you stay on your regimen. You stay on your regimen, you won't get sick. If you do get sick, you should bounce back. But if you just totally fall out and say, I'm not exercising, I'm not going to take care of my health, and it's going to drag you. And I know you don't want that. The last part I want to add is money, the money, baby. Jupiter's transiting is getting ready to come out of your 4th house. So you've been doing upgrades on your home. You've been traveling to other people's homes. But now you're getting ready to move into the 5th house, which is the house of fun, willpower, enjoyment. This is a big money house for when Jupiter transits into the 5th. So get with me or Robert or somebody and find out exactly that particular day that Jupiter goes into the 5th and how long it's going to be there. Because I like looking for, when I tell people about their money, I say look at the schedule for how long Jupiter's going to be in this particular house and schedule your agenda based around this, because you may not have this money opportunity again until Jupiter goes into your 8th house, which is 4 years from now. So just like cell phone activation, we boost the signal from one tower to the next tower to the next tower. So there's going to be some gaps in between big money, but I'm looking at, of course, you've got publications on the way, and Jupiter moving into the 5th house, and and Mercury just went in retrograde in your house of relationships. So the desire for what you want, what do you want in relationships? You should be writing about that. If you're an author, that's poetry, books. Write about what you want in relationships and get ready for Jupiter moving into your 5th house. Word up.
All right, Scotty. Well, look, thank you for calling in and hanging out, and now we're going to beam you back down into a 3D reality.
All right. Have a good day, y'all.
All right. Take good care.
Peace.
Nicely done, Khayr.
Appreciate it.
That was really good, man. You brought out some salient details. Okay, we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got 7 people waiting, and we've got 30 minutes left in the show. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to cap everybody to 4 minutes. Okay, I hate to do that, but we're going to cap everybody to 4 minutes. We're going to get you on here, and we're going to burn. We're going to do some quantum readings very quickly, and then we're going to move on to the next person and try to clear these lines, because I have a hard drop today at noon. I've got to see a client at 1. So let's get into the next caller, 914. Let's find out who they are, where they're calling from, and what they want to talk about. Hello, you're on the air.
Yeah, hello?
Yeah, hey, how's it going?
What's going on?
What's your name?
My name is Lucky.
Hey, Lucky, thanks for calling in. Welcome to the show. And we're gonna do our best to give you a little bit of insight here in about 5 minutes or less. When is your birthday, Lucky?
December 6, 1974.
Okay, let's dial that in. And what time was that?
3:57 in the evening, p.m.
And where was that?
In the Bronx, New York.
December 7th, 1970.
1974?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right. I think this might be Jay-Z in disguise. What do you think?
You're a funny dude. You're a funny dude, man. You're a funny dude. Khayr, what's poppin', man? Long time no speak, beloved.
What's going on, Lucky? How you feeling, guy?
Everything good, beloved. I can't complain, you know?
He's got some Jay-Z energy, but he's 2 days off. So as far as 6, he's a queen of clubs. So nah.
Ace of spades.
Oh, Ace of spades. Pardon self.
Nah, I'm a queen of clubs, but I also got the Ace of spades.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Nah, it's funny he said the Jay-Z thing because there's certain things that's the same. It's just switched, and his Mercury is low and mine is high. And
yeah,
my
you know, I
Venus
can
is
feel
high
that.
and
I was
his is low.
picking up on that. Yeah. Well, you got the super Sag thing going on, man. You know, it's like Sun in Sag, Mercury in Sag, Venus in Sag, Neptune in Sag, True Node in Sag. So, you know, I mean, just break it down. You're a truth teller. I mean, that's where your destiny is at. That's where your strength is at. Wisdom, truth. You know, the thing with Sag, the hard thing with Sag, the biggest challenge with Sag, is that they get into this place where they have to lead by example at times, and that's not always where they're the best. A lot of times, Sag is do as I say, not as I do.
Right.
You know, one of the exemplars of that is Jim Morrison, who is a Sagittarius, right? And you know, he was this incredibly mystical Dionysian image who theoretically was on a quest for some sort of truth, but his lifestyle and his kind of shamanic methodology to get to that Dionysian truth wasn't always sort of the best model, the best path for people to take. So your big challenge with all that Sagittarius is to line up, you know, your desire and ability to be a truth maker, a truth teller, and to live it in a way that is concordant. Now, the thing with Sag is they hate hypocrisy.
No question.
A lot of times Sagittarians they'll subvert themselves. You know, they will not self-destruct, but they will undo certain things about who they are because they don't want their ego getting so out of control that they're judgmental, that they're overzealous. So they'll trip themselves up and they'll reveal themselves to be all too human to themselves and other people. And I think that that's really the trick with all this Sagittarius is how can you live your life, how can you live this path without setting yourself up at times for a fall, so that you can stay in touch with your humanity, so you can stay in touch with your humility. And for me, the key is your moon, which is in Virgo. And that Virgo moon is going to help you, you know, stay in touch with things like your personal hygiene, your personal health, you know, your diet, taking care of your emotions, make sure your flame isn't snuffed out. But that moon squares. That moon is squaring your Venus. That moon, that's a big square, and that's where your challenge is: emotions, relationships, commitment. Those are the things that are going to keep you honest. So we don't have a lot of time. I'm going to let Khayr, get into this a little bit.
I'm going real quick. I'm going straight to your money. It's amazing that your rising sign is 7 degrees, and your ascendant is 7 degrees Gemini, and Jupiter's at 7 degrees Gemini. So you have a product or a service that you're releasing to people right now, don't you?
Yeah, I've been keeping it on the low for a minute, but I'm out to
It's over. I know for the last year you kept it on the low, but right now is the day to let the butterfly doors up, hit the nitrous oxide, and put the pedal to the metal with whatever that you have. Today's the day to launch it. That's square.
I already know, Khayr. I just wanted to get some feedback from y'all two brothers. That's all. Like, I know, Khayr. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything happens for a reason. So it's just a situation. I'm just grateful that you said that. You know what I mean?
Well, please don't forget me and Robert.
B, come on, B. I'm grateful for you just for Sister Myra. Like, I called in off the strength of seeing you post what you post. I mean, I've dealt with Robert before, but I called in off the strength for you to show the love. So it ain't nothing.
All right. Well, you got some grand money coming here, baby. And the only thing I'm gonna say is, you might already have this, but I'm gonna say it for clarity. Don't worry about what other people think. Stay out.
Never that, B. It's my time, Khayr. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for acknowledging it. Thank you as well, Robert. Thank you so much.
Hey, Lucky, with all those planets in Sagittarius, how could you not be lucky, right?
Yo, let me ask you this one thing, Robert, because I know you got to hurry up with people. What? I got Chiron on the 11th. Is there a real breakdown you can give me on that real quick?
Well, you've got Chiron and Aries in the 11th, right?
Right.
And so one of the challenges with Chiron in the 11th house is trying to figure out who your friends are, and there's a level of sensitivity with Chiron in Aries in the 11th house. It's an overused term, but I'll use it anyway. Haters. You've got, because, what you want to do is you want to, again, with that Chiron and Aries, there is kind of a tortured relationship with leadership. And so anybody that's got Chiron and Aries has to come to terms with being a leader in their own lives. And with Chiron is always the point where we're the most vulnerable and the most sensitive. So if you've got people, again, house of friends, the 11th house, if you have people, and this is just, in some ways it's almost too simplistic, but if you have people that are holding you back with Chiron and Aries, and they can hold you back with Chiron and Aries, you've got to make choices. You've got to make executive choices and executive decisions to move those people out of the way and out of your life, and to be with people that will support you in really kind of being a leader, not only in your own life, but being able to be a leader in what I would call sort of the new Aquarian world, not the false Aquarian world, which is the New World Order, but the new Aquarian world. And that's part of who you are, too. It's a big part of who you are. So you need to have people around you that will support that. And that's where I think the strength of your Chiron can come into play.
Thank you so much, Robert. I don't want to hold y'all up, man.
All right. Thank you, Lucky.
All right.
Be well. All right. That's Lucky. Is he from New York, Khayr?
Oh, no, absolutely not. He's from Alabama. No, I'm just playing. Yeah, he's from New York.
You can hear that.
He's New York all day, baby.
That was Bronx all the way. All right, let's go to the 513 line. Hey, you're on the air with Robert and Khayr. Thank you for calling in. Who are you? And let's just drop right into your birthday.
Peace. My name is Shantae. My birth date is 6/1/80.
Okay. 6/1/80.
And what time were you born, Shantae?
7:21 p.m.
And where are you now?
Cincinnati, Ohio.
All right, Big Cincy.
All right, Khayr, I'm gonna switch this up. I'm gonna let you bat lead off here.
All right, Cincinnati, Ohio. Ow. I'm gonna go straight to your money too, just because. In your relation, the partnerships that you're making right now, make sure that you qualify everybody. I don't know whether it's a man or a female or whatever, but any type of relationships that you do now, they're going to be profitable or they're going to be a liability next year. So practice non-attachment. It ain't personal. Well, tell them all business is personal. That's hustle commandment number 6. And because Jupiter's going to be moving into your 8th house next year, which is going to be other people's money. So the partnerships that you're going to be going into now, make sure that they are the highest integrity. Don't get caught up. You can get friends from anywhere. Don't worry about it. But you want to have some quality assets as you move through this. And since it's going to be a lot of that's going to be in Cancer, people are going to be emotionally connected to you and helping you get money next year. So I just wanted to get straight into that. The Scorpio rising, once again, don't take it personal when people want to they approach you sexually, because with Neptune conjuncting your rising sign, just meditate on it. Tantra is for you. That's all I can really say. Tantra is for you. Take your sexual energy, transmute it, and you are the value in the relationship. Never compromise. Don't settle for do you want Mr. Right or do you want Mr. Right now? So you can't keep doing Mr. Rights. You can't keep doing Mr. Right nows. You have to make sure that that's super, super solid in your stuff. And lighten up a little bit. You just like Ra, got that sun, got that moon in Capricorn. Lighten up on people a little bit. You're not a man. You know what I'm saying? Go to the spa, get those nails done, stay beautiful, and let the inner porn star out. That's my brief on you.
Thank you.
So, Shantae, you've got a lot of really organic aspects to your chart with Mars in Virgo, Jupiter in Virgo, Saturn in Virgo, Venus in Cancer, Mercury in Cancer. So you have a capacity to grow things, make things grow easily. If you can harness some of that Gemini ADD for just a second or a few moments, you could theoretically, do things like, start a farm or start a preschool or this capacity to grow things is really profound in your chart. So anything that has to do with organic, nature, natural cycles, these are very, very pronounced for you, and you would do extremely well at that. But you've got Chiron and Taurus, so you've got to be able to get into, again, nature, earth, the body, in order to, really flesh out, pun intended, kind of why you're here. The other thing for you is you always want to look to fall for cycles of culmination in your personal life with Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn all in Virgo. September, October could be extremely fruitful times for you. You kind of want to build your personal year up so that it peaks during those times. So organic cycles, very, very important. This new moon, very important. It's crossing right over your Mercury in Cancer. Great time, again, to use an organic term, to plant your intention.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. You both were on point.
Okay. We're going to say goodbye to you. Thanks for calling into the show, and don't be a stranger, okay?
All right. Thank you. Peace.
Bye. Okay, so we're doing pretty good here, Khayr. We're moving through the line.
That's right, baby.
Okay, here we go. 216. You're on the air with Robert and Khayr. How are you? And what are your coordinates?
Is that me?
That's you.
Awesome. Okay. Well, my coordinates. I'm October 7th, 1958, Cleveland, Ohio, 8:24 a.m.
I know who this is.
8:24 a.m. and what year?
1958.
Can you turn down your computer speakers a little bit?
I don't have them on at all now.
That's probably me, Khayr.
Okay, October 7th, 1958, 8:24 a.m. And
right.
What city and state are you in right now?
Cleveland, Ohio.
Gotcha.
Khayr, I know who this is, so I'm gonna let you do the honors here.
Right.
Okay. Well, hi. We know who you are.
I'm Gloria. Yeah, who you are?
Yes, Gloria. Let me get you pulled up. Did you have a specific question tonight, or maybe one pointed question, or you just wanted me just to jump in? Oh my goodness. Okay. Man, all these secrets that you keep. Listen, I got something special for you right now. Okay. There's a big line between honesty and confessions. When people ask you something, tell them the truth and be honest. But don't try to turn everybody into a Catholic priest and run and confess, because you got all these secrets. All this stuff that you have in the 12th house, Venus, Mercury, the sun, your North Node, you're like the secret person. People come to you and you get TMI all the time. Mm-hmm. Just relax. And it's been testing you for the last, since late 2010, because it was all in Libra. So you need a massage or a cosmic hug. I need to send you some healing energy, because all of that came to get you prepared to go into the new you. The new Glory is getting ready to pop up here between now and October, and we're all going to be glad to see her. So don't despair about the things that went on in the last year and a half, 2 years. Just take them as learning lessons. Look for everything that you can grow from for that. You are also having Jupiter in the 8th house right now. It's transiting other people's money. So a lot of things that are going to come to you as far as prosperity and value and things like that are going to come from other people. Not necessarily at the expense of other people, but from the partnerships that you made last year. So if you're like, man, I cut so many people loose, that's good, because you only need a little drop of mercury, a little drop of plutonium to make a bomb. So I think you're in good shape. You got a lot of other stuff going on too with that Libra North Node. You don't like arguing. You want to keep it quiet. Get your meditation on. I don't know if I can do a shameless plug, but I do have a meditation DVD on relaxationisthekey.com. Just click on DVDs, and there it is, because you got to regulate your breathing and really get in. That's going to keep you out of trouble.
All right. Sounds right. Sounds right. I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
So, Gloria, what do you think of today's show?
Thank you.
I'm sorry, what, Robert?
What do you think of today's show?
I tuned in late, but I'm totally loving it. I'm totally loving how you two are vibing off of each other, and I can feel the synapses triggering and growing, and in both of you, actually.
Yeah.
Which is why, of course, I called, because I thought, you guys are popping and loving it.
Yeah. Well, good.
So I thought I'd jump in
real quick,
and get a little jump off.
Thank you, Gloria. But one more thing I just looked at, I should have been doing everybody's Mercury Retrograde. Look at what you want in your career. There's a flame lit in your life right now asking you, showing you some things from your past. You know, you got to be honest with that. What is it that you are desiring? What is it that you're desiring? And analyze that between now and August the 1st, and be honest with it.
Well, I have a few things, and one is a book I've been working on for a long time. But it's complicated. It's a complex piece that I'm trying to make simple enough for everyone to read.
Empty your cup. That's all you got to do. Empty your cup.
I think that's great advice.
Okay. Thanks so much. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
Gloria, thank you for calling in. Love you.
Okay, love you too, babe. Bye-bye.
Bye. By the way, Khayr, you totally nailed that.
Sounds good coming from you. It would have sounded better coming from her, but I'll take your word for it.
You totally nailed that. And Gloria, by the way, is a master astrologer. So.
Oh wow, she was testing me. We call those secret secret callers.
Hey, it's the 12th house, right? Come on now.
I didn't see her coming, but it's all good. I love her.
Okay, here we go. 615. 615 area code. You're on the air with Robert Khayr. How are you? And what are your coordinates?
Hi, I'm Nashville, Tennessee. 1/28/1970 in Washington D.C. At 1:29 p.m.
Did you get that, Khayr?
1:29 p.m. and he was born in Washington D.C.
Yeah, D.C. was up.
You know what? I was born in D.C. too. Are you still in D.C. now?
No, I'm in Nashville.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna run it for Nashville.
Okay, I've got 128 here on the solar. Okay. It looks like he's got Moon in Libra, Sun in Aquarius. And what do we got here? Aquarius.
January 28, 1970, 129. I'm gonna jump in, Robert, on this Mercury retrograde that happened in the third house. What are you communicating? You know, look back at how you've been talking to people. Look back at how you've been communicating with you, the higher you, your spirit guides and archangels, and how you've been talking to the Creator. Focus on that. I mean, really, really get on it. Also, you have a couple of months because Jupiter's coming through your 12th house now, so it's an excellent time to be getting readings and consultations like this. But you must know when Jupiter's going to be coming into your first house. So whatever this new ideal and this new product is, as Annie Ortley says, if it's in your heart, it's in your chart. have the confidence in it, because you got Jupiter and Venus is going to be leading the way. So I don't know what it is. I know it's big. It's going to change your life. It's going to be something different than you've done for the last 11 and a half years. So this Mercury in retrograde came at a good time for you to just be able to look back at what you really want, and it's got something to do with communication. Also, make sure you put on your seatbelt, and everybody wear your seatbelt wherever you're going, and make sure all your paperwork is straight in your car.
I want to just jump in real quick here on this upcoming conjunction between Saturn and Jupiter, which occurs in October for you. And the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction is one of the most powerful conjunctions that can take place, because Saturn brings form to Jupiter's expansive nature. And you've got Jupiter in Scorpio. So Saturn on top of your Jupiter really gives you an opportunity to practice personal power, holding your power, expressing your power, and building very intensely and in a focused manner. So if you are bringing a product to market, or if you're bringing an idea to market, or that Saturn-Jupiter conjunction is terrific. You can work long hours. You could have very sustained periods of work and productivity. And not only that, but you can get people to buy into or co-create with you at a level of integrity with that Saturn-Jupiter conjunction. And that Saturn-Jupiter conjunction lasts for a while, because Saturn goes up to 15, I think it's 14 degrees this year, and then it moves backwards, and I think it goes back to 6. So it's going to be dancing with your Jupiter, from October, I think, through about April, March of next year. So that's a pretty good stretch, and it gives you a prolonged period to really focus on very kind of scorpionic issues in a way that are controlled, that are focused, and really empowering. I think it's a great cycle for you.
That definitely sounds good. I appreciate your time.
Okay. Well, thank you for calling in. Don't be a stranger to either show, and we'll see you out there in the virtual realm. Take good care, okay?
All right, peace.
Okay. All right, so we've got 9 minutes left, and we may not be able to get a hold of all of you or get to all of you. And if that's the case, I think Lanice is on one of the lines, so I think she's on the third line. But what I want to do right now is I just want to take just a couple of minutes before time runs out to have people figure out a way to get to you, Khayr. How can they do that? Where can they find you?
Man, I appreciate that. The first thing is I want y'all tuning in to Zoom in. My particular Blog Talk Radio is blogtalkradio.com/Khayr, Khayr. I'm on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights. Tuesday is Symptometry, Best Healthcare You've Never Heard of. Wednesdays is my own personal show, Illuminati Money. Tonight is going to be crazy. And Thursdays is the Tower of Tantra. If you want to get an appointment for any type of consultations I do, not just astrology, but nurturing, finances, paradigm shifting. I call myself a paradigm guide. You can go over to CoachKAppointments.com, CoachKAppointments.com, or you can go to my website, CoachKayir.com. But my flagship is really RelaxationIsTheKey.com. I delve. People say, where are you from? I say, I'm from the 4G network. So you can reach me through RelaxationIsTheKey.com. You can reach me at CoachKayir.com. If you want to make an appointment, you can see me at Coach K Appointments. And my Twitter is Coach Khayr. Original Native Radio has its own site. And my phone number is 336-587-1215. You can text me or call me, and it's Coach Khayr at Gmail. We're a brand out here. And you can just go to Google, and Coach Khayr will just come up all over. I got YouTube pages. Just thanks for all the support, and just reach out to me on Facebook. I'm Khayr Love, and I'd appreciate it if I got a couple more likes on my fan page as well, which is Coach Khayr.
All right. Lots of accessibility. Let's go to 646. Hi, you're on the air with Robert and Khayr. How are you? And what are your what's your birth date numbers?
Okay, don't get mad at me again like the second caller. 525-77. We didn't say anything about money. I've been in this slump for a long time, so do you mind just touching on that real quick?
I would love to be able to do that, but there are people that have been holding, and I tell you what, if you want to, I think this is a perfect opportunity for you to go deeper with either Khayr or myself, and
okay.
and so lovingly, I have to say goodbye, and
no, it's
Go to somebody else, okay?
I understand. Okay.
All right, bye-bye. All right, let's go here. Hello, you're on the air with Robert and Khayr. Hello? Hello? Going once? Going twice? Back and hold. Let me just see if this is Lenise. Is this Lenise?
Hello.
Hello?
Hi, Robert.
Hi, who's this?
This is Lenise.
Hey, Lenise, I knew that was you. How are you doing?
I'm always tuned in.
How have you been enjoying today's show?
Well, I missed most of it. I thought about it, and then I was out doing something and forgot, and I turned it on not too long ago, so I missed most of it. I'm sure it was great.
Oh, it's been a great show. Say hello to Khayr, Lenise.
Hi, Khayr.
Hi, Lenise. How you doing today? You're looking awesome.
Oh, thank you. You too. I could see that in your spirit. I was about to say he has another great astrologer with him today.
Absolutely. Khayr, Lenise is one of my favorite callers.
Man, when's Lenise's birthday, man? Let me meet her.
Lenise, give him the details.
Which ones?
Your birth date.
Oh, okay. July 5th, 1963.
And what time were you born?
9:56 a.m.
And what city and state are you in right now?
Memphis, Tennessee.
A lot of Tennessee out here today.
Before you break into it, I'm going to let you punch that up, Khayr. We're going to be running out of time here in about 4 minutes, so we'll be doing Lenise's call, and we'll take it, onto the podcast and the recorded portion of the show. And if you did not get in today and you want to get a reading, I'll make a little bit of time on Friday's show to do that for you. So just come back on Friday. Tell me that you were in the queue and you didn't get a reading, and I'll squeeze you in. I'll have a period of time for the Friday show to do that. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Khayr. Tear it up.
Hers Mercury Retrograde is where I wanted to start. That fell in her 11th house. You're going to be reviewing what you want from your friends, and what I would suggest is the high end. When we go to the bar and we get liquor, or we go to the grocery store and get food, we want the high end food. So look back at your friends and let go of the ones who aren't high end, because this particular transition, you're going to need an all-star cast, like you said, to block some of the haters or some of the other things that you may not have had the strength yourself to let go of. So look back at your friends, make your own personal note, write down 40 names and say these are the top 10 of these as far as integrity, because you're going to need those. You always need support emotionally, because you have the moon is a water planet, but yours is in Sagittarius and it falls in your house. So you like to be comfortable. You don't like your feelings to get riled up, but you also always have the plan. People are always coming to you for the plan. That's the Virgo rising. But with Pluto and Uranus in the 12th house, you keep a lot of deep, dark secrets as well. Action is something that has gotten you. You don't mind initiating things. So stay on point with initiating, but don't initiate with everyone. A little more discernment. And relax. Pisces rules your relationship, so relax. Believing in the relationship and the person believing in you is what's going to make it successful. Your money is getting ready to transition out of your 9th house, so you're learning a lot of things about philosophy, your money, and travel, things that you want to do. You're getting ready to transition over, though. Jupiter's getting ready to transit into your 10th house, which is going to click on a lot of planets, because you have Venus there, Mercury there, the Sun there. So I always talk to the people who I do consultations for is be an unashamed opportunist. You got some big things coming up that are going to open up for your career and your fame and what you're known for to the public. No time for you to be shy and play in the coy role. You need to be planning. You need to be setting things down in order and visualizing what it is that you desire and get ready to move on it.
Sounds great. I'm glad to hear that, and that's kind of lining up with what's going on too.
Good.
Yes.
Well, Lenise, we're running up against the clock here. I'll put you back on hold. Thank you, as always, for listening, calling in. Love you, and I'll see you again on the show sometime, okay?
Okay, I love you too, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to be looked at by this man as well. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It was my pleasure.
Khayr, man, we did good today. What do you think?
Man, on a scale of 1 to 10, you put out like a 12, man. I'm evaluating you right now. I'm giving you a 12 on it. You got 120 on your test score today, buddy. Man, I had a good time, man. I really enjoyed all the callers. I really enjoyed the questions. I really enjoyed the insight. I've even got my chart laid out for yesterday because something personally happened to me that I had to use some of my own particular skills to come through. And so I learned a lot in the last 2 days about how that was applied to me, and I just love this science more. I mean, more and more every day. Just living it. And so I encourage people to get in contact with you. Stay tuned in to Robert, man. This guy's doing some epic stuff. Y'all got a good locomotive on y'all choo-choo train. That's all I can say.
Well, our moons are in really good harmony with that Libra, and it came through today. Yeah, I really want to thank you for coming on and sharing your considerable wisdom and kind of furthering this synergistic blend of breaking down barriers and opening up new networks and living together and standing together in the light and love of truth. So I really appreciate that, and I want to thank you for that.
No problem, brother. We working the squares on the high end. Some people are a victim of the squares, but we're working the squares like master builders, if you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean. Okay, my brother, I will see you out there in the virtual realm, and you just keep doing that good work, all right?
Did you see my new red Ferrari? You kept talking about I was on Greyhound. I just want to throw that in there.
Yeah, man. We're gonna turn you into Ferrari Jesus.
All right, Big Papa. I'm gonna talk to you soon. Peace.
All right, Coach. See you later. That was the one and only Coach Khayr, Coach K, coming straight from the deep South, the dirty South, down in North Carolina. Love him, and it was a great show today. If you're on hold, I'm sorry, I got to go. But if you call back on Friday and you want to do a little astrology, you can do that. This is on the stream already, or on the podcast, so that's what's happening. Again, thank you, Coach Khayr, and all the callers. This is Robert Phoenix. You've been listening to the Navigating the Astrological Matrix. I'll see you on Friday, and Friday's guest, Jay Widener. Don't miss it. Adios.
In the name I am that I am, son of tomorrow, I call forth the light of the living word, beloved Elohim, beloved archangels, beloved mighty Choans of the rays and the lords of karma. I call for the action of beloved Pallas Athena, beloved goddess of liberty, beloved Nada, beloved Kuan Yin, beloved Portia, beloved great divine director, beloved all-seeing eye of God, Cyclopeia. Let God's will be done, let God's will be done, let God's will be done. I demand the action of the sacred fire in this hour. Descend on mighty cosmos, secret rays. I am the holding of the balance of Lord Gautama Buddha, beloved Sana Kumara and the seven holy Kumaras. I call upon the sacred fire, I call upon the light of God that never fails. Beloved mighty, I am present, come forth in this hour of the victory. Come forth in this hour of the victory of the God slain. I demand the full power of beloved mighty, see me with us this night. Beloved Jesus, send to me, Lord, my Savior.